We're here at Cassadaga, Florida. We're going to explore a small little community, about anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 people, that is said to hold the largest amount of psychic mediums. Now, along with that, they also have several haunted things, including a devil's chair, a haunted museum, and some say this little town might sit on a vortex. Here we have the man who basically created this whole area, George P. Colby. You see, he was born in 1848, died in 1933. So George basically started traveling around the country. He was giving spiritual readings and having seances, and he gained a lot of popularity. And with this popularity, he was basically often called the seer of spiritualism. He was originally from New York State, but, you know, like I said, he would travel around. Well, one time in 1875, he was doing a seance in Ohio when he said that he was contacted by a Native American spirit that told him that he was destined to travel to Florida and create the world's greatest spiritual camp. So another thing to see here in the cemetery, other than coming to see George's grave, is something that Florida is known for. Like, if you look up like most haunted things in Florida, more than likely you're going to run across what's called the devil's chair. Now, within the cemetery there are 3 chairs. One of them you can pretty much rule out and know that it's not it because it doesn't look similar to the other 2. The other 2, though, very similar because they're both Thatcher graves and both similar with the way they're built.
The other one's white and actually has a gate on the front of it with somebody's name.
But we'll take you, let you see those, and then we're going to take you to the devil's chair. This is the one that's kind of the odd one out. As you notice, it's white, really doesn't have the headstones that the other ones have, not related to the same name that we're about to show you. Has a gate blocking it, but to me this one looks creepiest.
Yeah.
Out of all of them. Let's see, we have a grave of a small child in here. Somebody, I mean, they got plenty of toys on his little grave.
And a tricycle.
It looks like Mom and Dad might be buried over there. So this is the one that's toward the back of the cemetery whenever you come in. Now, I know things online state that this is the one, but when you hear the real story, I'm going to tell you why I think this is not the real one.
Well, I'm going to tell you why I think it's not, just to get out of the way, is the fact that if you're looking at the graves, and if these are supposed to be husband and wife, they're opposite. The husband is always on the left and the wife is always on the right. This is the wife and the husband, but this death is in 1913. This is 1865 to 1872. So we think this was a child, and that's why he's on the right, because the mom would be on the left.
Although it is a very big headstone for a child, most kids that we've seen have been smaller, but I'm not saying it can't be.
No, I mean, exactly, but two, then where's the dad? Maybe there wasn't no dad.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
I mean, happens
so
all the time.
Unless they just jacked up the years royally, this George Thatcher was 7 years old.
Yeah. But if they did jack up the date, then that puts him at 107 years old.
Yeah. So that's why we don't think this is the actual devil's chair.
No. I mean, if you go up and look at it, people have scribbled devil on it and everything else, but you can tell it's not old writing. Let's just walk up here and look. See. Devils, nuh-uh. Then they got this and a heart. A couple other things. I mean, you can see people scribbled stuff on it. But it doesn't look that old. So I'm gonna say cop out. Like Renee said, you'll see some things online. Other people that have done this video, it's like, this has got to be it because it's on the back and blah blah. No, it's we're gonna say meh.
Here is the third chair that you will find in the cemetery. Now, if you look off in the distance, you'll see the one we just showed you back there, and here's the white one that we showed you first.
The other one's right back there.
So if you'll notice, these headstones are turned inward. However, both of these sets did say Thatcher. But if you come in, so first we're going to focus on the wife over here.
Okay.
Now, she doesn't have a year right here. So some people could be like, oh, well, she's still alive. No, that's not possible because she was born in 1838. This woman would be well over 100 years old if she was still alive.
Might be a vampire.
So
She could be a ghoul or a witch.
maybe they just didn't come back and put the date on here. Forgot.
Possibly.
Don't know. So the real story with this is the reason.
Wait, before you go into the story, let me just say this. Like with this one, okay. Husband's on the left, wife is on the right. See, this is how all graves just about are set up. Not like the other one where it was backwards. And he is older than 7 years old. Okay. Even though he died first, still, husband, wife.
You're
supposedly.
assuming.
I'm assuming.
He didn't die first in the story, the real story.
Okay, well, go ahead and tell them the story.
So the real story is these are called mourning chairs. And the reason this was built was because the wife had died. The guy was coming here to visit her and he had really bad arthritis. So he had this built so he could come on his visits and sit in the chair and sit with her at her grave. So in essence, if that story really is true and that ties that to the devil's chair, she would have to pass away first, which would make sense because he's a pretty good bit younger than her.
And I see that now. He is actually 21 years younger than her because he was born in 1859 and she was born in 1838.
Mm-hmm.
So 21 years.
Even though it doesn't have a death year on hers, we can only assume that she passed away before him in this case, if that story is accurate.
Yeah. If it's accurate, she would have had to have died before 1925 because that's whenever he did.
But, and you can see in this chair, somebody has left a beer can. Now we're going to get into the legend of the chair.
And this one looks more like a prominent chair. I mean, the other one had flowers growing out this way, but this one just, it looks like a more prominent chair than that one over there.
The reason they call this the devil's chair is because supposedly if you sit in it, it's supposed to be at midnight, you will hear the devil speak to you. Now, some people have said they hear voices in their head while they're sitting there. Others just say they just hear it.
So it's hear the devil type, and I thought somebody said you sit in it, you're supposed to see the devil.
No, you hear him.
Oh, okay.
Another legend that goes along with it, which would explain the beer can that's left here, is if you leave a beer can on this chair, the next morning you're supposed to come back and the beer can is supposed to be empty. Now, this was already here. It's full. It's full.
Maybe they don't like, maybe he don't like Blue Moon.
They don't like Blue Moon. That's the thing.
Maybe he's a Budweiser guy. Or,
He's something
or maybe,
other than Blue Moon.
Maybe like south of the border and he's like Corona.
There's been another story that I read that somebody snuck in here at night. I think it was like on Halloween or something, and the boy went and sat in the chair and then just disappeared. So the story was, well, you know, the devil dragged him to hell, or the vortex here swallowed him up, or something along those lines. So who knows? I mean, you gonna sit in it and see if you feel anything?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll sit in it. You gotta put your back to it.
It doesn't say.
Hands out like
I mean,
this.
it doesn't say posturing specifics.
So what if you wanted to just lay out on it?
You could, I guess. You could hike one leg up and.
I can't do it with my phone in my pocket. You could be like this, like you're on a toilet, pondering life. This would make a really good toilet. It's not too low, it's not too high. You're
That
at
would be a massive toilet.
I'm just saying, you're at a 90 degree, or you get the whole Game of Thrones thing going on where they sit like this.
Well, I think they need to like raise the armrest.
Yeah. No,
That looks
not very
real
good
uncomfortable
armrest. Not very
to do
good
for
armrest.
long.
Yeah. Just sit like this. Get your back up against it.
Do you feel anything weird?
I don't hear anything. And the only thing I see is a bunch of graves and bright light. Now, I will say this, though, since I am sitting in this chair. Now, when we got here, we were looking for the chair, and we went over to that other one where the things are flipped. And we walked up in there and everything, but it wasn't until we got to this one, like when because this is the first time I've sat in it. So, but when we actually stepped up here and was looking at the tombstones, like I did all of a sudden get like a sharp headache pain. Not like a normal headache. It felt like two fingers right at my eyebrow just pushing.
Do you still have
and
it?
Just on this side. No, I mean once we walked away, like it went away. I haven't felt headaches since we got back over here. But that wasn't it. I'm like, as soon as we walked away to go find Colby's grave, like it went, like literally as soon as we walked out of here, it went away. But the whole time we were in here, like somebody was pushing right on that eyebrow. Could have been nothing, but it's just an odd coincidence that it only happened
strange.
when we got here, but then it left as soon as we stepped out. Do get the faint smell of weed. And there's nobody else in the cemetery. I'm just saying, it's just kind of, ooh, there it is. I don't hear anything, though.
Let's get back to talking about George Colby. So remember this Native American spirit that he had tell him that he needed to come to Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it basically kind of assisted him along the way. So it told him that he needed to find the high pine hills overlooking silvery lakes. So that's exactly what he did whenever he settled here and found 35 acres. Now, the lake that you're looking at in front of you would be the Silvery Lakes. Now, Colby claimed that these lakes had healing powers and that they cured his tuberculosis. In 1975, George Colby actually created the Southern Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp. Now, his reputation, I told you, was already pretty popular, and with the healing powers of the lake and the waters you've seen, this kind of started spreading. So it started bringing in other mediums and other spiritualists, like people from up north were coming down, and then they were just ended up staying. So the 35 acres that he originally started with grew to 57 acres of land with people living here in this little community of Cassadaga. Now, being that this is the South, and you have like something like a spiritualist camp moving in, of course it didn't set well with like religion that's here in the Deep South. So a lot of the pastors from other churches kind of started spreading rumors about what was going on here. They were saying, you know, that they were like performing like satanic rituals and human sacrifices, dumping bodies into the lake, just to kind of get people to stay away from here and not really come over here.
There's a picture of Mr. Colby. This is a plaque kind of outside of the front of the Colby Memorial Temple. Now, Mr. Colby deeded 35 acres to the camp in 1895, and it was around this time that the first building was constructed on this property. It was the auditorium, which was an octagonal-shaped wooden structure overlooking the spirit pond. Now, soon after the, you know, well, not soon after, but eventually the wooden structure would be torn down, and this brick building would be erected in its place.
They have this nice little in memory of George Colby. It just kind of goes into detail about that prophecy that he got from the Native American spirit telling him that he needed to come to Florida and create this community.
His psychic work extended over a period of 73 years. His watchword, tranquil dad. All right, guys. Well, that does it. That does it for us here in Cassadaga, Florida. It's been a cool place. Been a cool place. Special shout out to our VIP road warrior, the Crip Lady, at the time of this filming. Thank you much for your patronage. However you say that word. If you'd like to be a subscriber to our Patreon, go on over and check it out. Exit to Adventure.
Cassadaga Kitty.
We also have a Amazon wish list, and if you'd like to be part of our lives when we start doing haunted investigations again, then head over to our TikTok page, Exit to Adventure, and be a subscriber. Every donation, every subscription is much appreciated and greatly helps us keep this channel going.
But you guys just watching the video helps too.
Yep.
So
give us
everything
a comment.
helps.
Yeah, give us a comment here on this video and all of our videos. We try to answer comments as much as we can, and give us a thumbs up if you're liking the videos. Hit that thumbs up. It don't cost you anything. Don't cost you anything to be a subscriber here. So, all right. Well, that's my spiel. That's my social media dump. So, catch you guys down the road at the next exit.
Keep it spooky.
Later.
Cassadaga Kitty.